Let's talk about crude oil. Let's talk about trade. First, crude oil. Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, according to the Financial Times, seeking to raise billions of dollars to step up production at his $20 billion oil refinery. He's looking fundraising. He's talking to development banks, commercial lenders, oil traders, of course, seeking to curb crude imports for Nigeria. Crude supplies are very important to the potential financiers, and reportedly, according to sources speaking to the Financial Times, it's cost about $2 billion every 90 days to secure at least 300,000 barrels per day. On the trade side of things, something our guest has talked about a lot, the World Trade Organization has said that Nigeria needs to review its ports procedures, particularly high rates of physical inspection of containers at Nigerian ports. So they're saying if they don't do that, you're going to exacerbate the food insecurity, inflation is going to rise, and we got food inflation, of course, headline inflation and food inflation on Friday. So let's bring in our Rise business analyst, Chika Mbonu, to discuss these matters. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much. Happy Monday.
How are you?
You're welcome.
Welcome to a new week in Nigeria.
A new week. Where would you like to start first?
Let's talk about oil.
Dangote, what do you make of this report?
Nothing surprising.
Yeah.
Nothing surprising at all. Because if you have a refinery of that capacity, you require 650,000 barrels per nameplate per day. It requires the raw materials, which is crude this time,
right?
Plus other ancillary things to run it.
Yeah.
And from what we hear, the back of the envelope calculation, at 300,000 barrels a day, the requirement is about $2 billion every 90 days.
Sounds like a lot of money.
Yeah,
for small me, maybe for not you. For me, that's a lot of money every 90 days.
But it's not something to worry about because you see, as I said, it's input and output. If you're taking crude, turning them into petrol or gasoline and crude and diesel and other aviation fuel, they have to be sold. It's not as if you're taking the money and just dumping it there.
Right.
Now, after the product has been sold, financials will always provide you money to do that because the proceeds from the sales will come and retire the loan. Now, but a couple of the issues there, one of the major issues there is that, remember, the local currency in Nigeria is Naira.
That's correct.
Now, if you're borrowing dollars and you're coming to get Naira proceeds or Naira revenues, there's this issue, the exchange rate risk is real.
Yep.
And especially with the oscillation of the exchange rates over a period of time. And for financials, that's a major thing. I have a feeling that the Dangote group is also properly staffed, properly qualified to understand that they're going to balance that and make sure they have, export and, dollar earnings based through export to enable them, cover, hedge against the exchange rate challenges. Because if you borrow $2 billion when the exchange rate is at 1,500, and the exchange rate goes to 2,000, and you're still earning only Naira, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what it is. The issue is with the financials trust the process. Now, but this is the reason, it goes back to the problems we have. It's the reason because of what? The initial model for this refinery was what? That Nigeria will have sufficient crude to provide to the refinery, to be able to produce and sell. But the issue is, because of the situations in our country, we've had our NNPC, forwards sold a lot of our crude oil, and so there's a paucity of supply now to Dangote refineries.
Yeah.
And so that's a major issue. And therefore, to run the refinery, every production plant has a minimum level. Otherwise, it becomes meaningless to produce. But it won't cover your fixed costs.
Yeah.
So they have to go around the whole world scouring for crude oil.
Speaking of which, I know he's buying from America and Brazil. We understand he's talking to Angola.
Libya, Angola, Gabon.
So how important is that to try and
everywhere he's going to gobble up crude oil. Everywhere he sees crude oil.
Yeah.
The nearer to him, the better. Because all these places, far from places, are going to be expensive for
logistics,
him.
Right?
Logistics, but the plant, requires 60,000 barrels a day. That's an nameplate. And that he needs to get to enable him the distance to move. But you see, the other issues are the cacophony of noises you hear every day in our country. Are they importing? They imported 2 billion liters of petrol, PMS, that will last from now to December. They've done this. They're not buying Ipman, Moman,
Right.
NMD, DPRA. I mean, I'm sure that, all I can say is this, that what they do, the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, celebrated the onset of the Dangote Refinery because we said it's going to help in conserving foreign currency for our country.
Right.
The CBN governor, the same thing also. This is going to help. Now, the continued importation of PMS, for whatever reason, is hurting going to hurt our reserves. Now, as an economist, when things don't balance economically, don't make sense economically, you move it to political level.
Right.
So I'm sure there may be reason for that. But I would love to learn. I love to learn. I love learning. I'm a quick learner. I love to stay in a room with Mr. Wale Edu, the CBN governor, will educate me on why, seemingly, and a lot of people are asking me seemingly what's happening. Why is Dangote Refinery not being given all the support it requires? Why people are still allowing people to be importing? Why are licenses being given out for people to import things, PMS anyhow, with the kind of quantum amount and, with the dollar naira struggling? So I don't have answers to those questions because they defy basic economies. Right. So I'm moving to political front, but I'm willing to learn. I hope that.
Well, you're a man of deep knowledge. You know a lot already. Real quick, trade. I mean, you've talked about the port so much, Chika, so much. The WTO and the.
Do you remember when we had a debate here with the custom people? That we did a program here where we said about 22 desks. For things to pass through before they are exported, and the challenge or even import, they challenge us and said. There's not so. And at the end of the day, they came to the level and said that, we know that things are messed up at the port, but we're the best. Out of all the 10, 15 agencies there, we're the best. It's not strange. It's not strange. Nigeria, you have automated scanners. All right?
It's supposed to make life easy.
Make life easy. Well, what happens? They want to do fiscal inspection.
Right.
You and me know why. That, it's like the toll gates. They're supposed to be like, you go there, pay your this thing, the gate leaves. But it doesn't work. For what now? So people can pay manually.
Right.
You're supposed to pay cash. I mean, just that. We talked about if a country. I'm happy that Mrs. Jumoke. Yeah, she's an active person. She's competent. She's grounded. Has been made a minister of trade, and we will engage her. Trade. We thought about if you want to do a country that's serious about trade, start from the port.
Right.
Either for goods leaving the country or goods coming to the country. But Nigeria, we're just a different body.
A different story.
Scanners of board that cost millions, billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars have been wasted. Within 1 week, they just spoiled. You go to the airport now, you go to our airports also, look at the scanners. They spoil within whatever because people can do manual searching. And when they do manual searching, there's manual interference and manual everything, So it's our country.
It's our country. Look, we're glad we have you to analyze our country. Rise business analyst Chika Mbonu, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you.